this. I don't know the answer. So aren't we saying, I don't know. It's like we're trying to figure out how to do what we don't want to do better, the school thing. So why are we saying those kindergartners have to learn C right now? I mean, is it more about that if I can help them learn how to do C, they don't feel stupid? Or is it about maybe they don't need to be learning C right now?
C?
She said the letter C.
Oh, the letter C.
But it's just like, they have to have the essentials to be able to do.
Who says? What are the essentials?
No, but
I'm not.
they have to have the essentials
this
to be able
arguing.
to
I'm trying to
do.
figure this out. Okay.
But then once they have it, like it's like giving them the blocks to make a pyramid, right? You give them all the blocks. You let them figure out. They have to know all the blocks to make this pyramid. But when they have the blocks, once they have them, they could make it 2 pyramids, or they could make it into a giant square, or they could make it into a tower. They could do whatever they want with the blocks, but you've given them the blocks to fit in with everybody and do what everyone's doing, but they don't have to. Now that this became easy, making the pyramid became easy, they can decide that they want to make something harder. They want to make 2 pyramids. That's harder. They want to go a different way, and they want to make a different kind of pyramid. They want to do whatever they want because they have the blocks and they know how to do what they're supposed to do, but they can do so much more with it because this is so easy. It's like it's like in math when you have something done easy and you think it's easier to go to the next step.
But why do they even bother with blocks? Why are they working with blocks? Do they want to work with blocks? In other words, is this an artificial problem? Are we just creating a fake problem that they never really had, and then we challenge them to get good at this thing that they didn't even want to get good at anyway? I think that's the struggle that Monica and I have.
But you can't go from the whole world has a structure. We've all gone through school. We've all done this, and you have to go through school to get jobs. It's been set, so we can't just be like, you don't have to learn this.
Well, that's not exactly true.
You don't have to.
I didn't have to go through school. My son dropped out of elementary school, and I've met kids who've never gone to school. At unschooling conferences, parents come, they bring their kids, and some of these parents I've met their kids, never gone to school. They've found a way to avoid it. Some of them have avoided it illegally. Some of them have avoided it legally.
But they've gotten the knowledge of how to do all this stuff.
Right? They do, but they're not necessarily because somebody forced them to learn it.
And where I'm coming from is I've spent 20 years teaching math, which is probably one of the least liked classes in school. And the way I've done it is a lot of the time entertained kids and made them believe they could do it, or showed them a really fun way to do it, or showed them some connection to the world. But it's been more like I keep trying to convince people when I don't know that has to be there. I mean, I feel like I've compromised mathematics by trying to convince.
Yeah.
And so...
Now, there's something we're doing with you right now, Erin, that you need to understand. We're involving you in a very high-level, complex philosophical struggle.
Totally on the edge, but it's because I completely trust you, and I want to know what you're thinking about this.
Yeah, this is something that the world is struggling with right now. There are people, like from a community I belong to, of unschoolers, where we don't even think there should be mandatory public education at all. We think it's okay if people don't learn to read until they're 15 years old. If that's okay. That doesn't mean you'll have a bad life. Now, I live by reading. I need to read. I've gotten tremendous stuff out of reading. So it's really hard for me to imagine why everybody wouldn't want to read.
That's it, though. Like, not everybody, because not everybody needs structure. But when you have a baby and you have to go through the structure of feeding it this time, and they wake up and they expect this and they do this, right? So baby gets used to that structure of having all these things in whatever order. So when it grows up, when you don't give it any structure, I don't know how... when a kid doesn't have school at such a young age, I don't know how they develop the skills to know that they need to do this and they need to get this done and they need to learn how to read.
I'll tell you how it is. First of all, you don't necessarily need to learn how to read. There's a wonderful interview that I saw of a fellow who graduated from a school called Summerhill in England. You might want to read about it. It's fascinating. Summerhill is a democratic school. It's run entirely by children. The adults serve to protect the system from other adults so that the kids can run it. The entire rules by which the school runs are all voted on by the kids twice a week. And at one point they decided to get rid of all the rules, and then they brought the rules back 2 weeks later because there was total chaos. They realized they wanted the rules, they needed the rules, but they're in control of all the rules. You don't, in Summerhill in England, which has been a school, by the way, that was started in the 20s, I believe. It's been going on and on and on. They just recently won a lawsuit. They won a court case against the English government they were trying to be shut down by the English government. And they prevailed in the court, and so they're now able to do this by law. But what in their classrooms, no kid has to go to class at Summerhill. It's all completely up to them. The classes are there, and you go, you don't go, whatever. Well, there's a kid. There's probably several kids, but there was one kid in particular that I saw an interview of. He graduated without being able to read. He'd spent his time playing music and knew how to play the piano by the time he graduated, but didn't know how to read. And he talked about how, you can get along without being able to read. And he explains how he did it. He became a world traveler. He eventually made a living by teaching English in Japan. And then he started getting asked how to spell words, and he didn't know how to do that. So he decided he had to learn to read. He said it took him 3 months to learn to read when he was 25 or something like that. No big deal. You see, the way that Summerhill is set up, so with the idea that the most important thing is that people feel that they own their own lives. And if they feel they own their own lives and they think they need to learn to read, then they'll learn to read. They'll find someone to teach them to read, or they'll just teach themselves to read. Whenever they decide that that's what they want. Anything they want to learn, they'll just snap their fingers and reach out and learn it because they feel like it all belongs to me. My education is my own creation. And that's what this guy did. He finally decided, it's time to learn to read. He taught himself to read. It was no big deal, in other words.
I just don't see how people get from such a young age to graduate